OT is in different states of maturity across different types of organizations. So when we look at OT, the common threat landscape, particularly from an OT standpoint, it has been escalating in the last couple of years. That's possibly due to the nature of the infrastructure, like that supports the plants, maybe in terms of energy and utilities. It could be water, it could be manufacturing plants. These are much ignored in the last many years when looked at it from a cybersecurity viewpoint. What has happened is with a lot of these advanced attacks that are happening either due to nation states or through ransomware and all that, the exposure on these environments has also been really unknown for most of the organizations that operate it. So in a way, the organizations don't have a view of what their current asset landscape is and what are the vulnerabilities that are present in those assets and what level of exposure is there for these assets from an outside in view. So this has been, and not to say that every organization at the same level, there are different organizations at different levels of maturity, and the visibility into the asset landscape, the vulnerabilities that exist in these assets is one big area where a lot of organizations have challenges with, and that's the current state of the OT landscape. In today's context, like you said, the advanced threat vectors have really gone up, and particularly with the geopolitical situation, there has been a lot of nation state attacks on critical infrastructure. In some cases, we have seen oil pipelines being blocked, so people don't have access to oil or gas. And then in some cases, there have also been instances of water sources getting poisoned, and which is eventually impacting people, right? So these type of attacks really put a very complex element into the overall society and nations as well. So all the critical infrastructures have to be really well protected, and the connectedness that you spoke about, that has really increased with lot of sensors and the equipment which are right now become IP addressable, which means every device with an IP address is actually a threat vector, or there can be an exploitation of these devices. And the more the devices that get connected, like sensors, maybe control equipment, and the systems that sort of control the production floor in terms of manufacturing units, or in terms of energy and utilities, the tracking that happens across multiple instrumentation systems, etc., have been really modernized in the last few years, and these are all network connected devices. And these network connected devices can very easily be exploited if they have not been maintained properly in the sense of patching of these vulnerabilities. So that really is a big challenge to the industry right now. Like we said before, it is all about the advanced threat actors who are acting to sabotage the facilities. So most of the nation state actors and the ransomware is the next category. The advanced actors would want to disturb any public infrastructure because that gives them the maximum control. And similarly, when you look at the commercial aspects of it, if somebody gets breached into a manufacturing floor, that impacts the production and hence the revenue and the loss of brand, etc. So those are some of the things that happen, and predominantly it is all the advanced threat that wants to put any organization or a utility or a nation infrastructure to risk, and that's what is being seen today. The first and the basic thing to start off with the hygiene elements, because the understanding of what you have is a first step to really protecting it. Once you have the view of the assets that are existing in your OT infrastructure, then you will be able to at least determine what are the vulnerabilities present in them. And then you look at remediating these vulnerabilities. Then you also look at the architecture of the entire OT network. How is it connected? Is it directly exposed to the external world or the outside networks? So these are some of the basic things organizations can start with. And there are tools and solutions out there where you can do a regular penetration testing to look at from the outside in view how much exposed is your infrastructure, and if something really happens, do you have the ability to detect that quickly, and can you contain that and also remediate that. So these are some of the things that organizations can really look at in terms of one, understanding, and secondly having the right detection capabilities and also the ability to respond. HCL Tech has got its own 360-degree OT framework, which has been built on our experience that we've gained over the last many years of operating the OT infrastructure, as well as providing support to organizations which are in the business of, let's say, energy and utilities and the public transportation and the manufacturing, which are pretty critical industries. So we have the ability to go and assess the current state of the customer. We have the ability to understand the gaps in the infrastructure, which could be vulnerability management. Then you look at the ability to monitor this on a continual basis using operational monitoring tools, OT monitoring. And then we also have the ability to make changes or rather transform the environment if you really don't have. And there could be instances where there is a flat network, which is probably a much more riskier thing to have in any of these OT environments. There needs to be a segmentation that needs to be done so that you split the network into multiple different zones, so you may not have the direct exposure even if something untoward happens. So we have the entire full suite of portfolio of services, starting from the assessment and the transformation or implementation, and then we also do the run, which is really a full cycle 360-degree support that we offer our customers who can take real benefit from this.